Networking and marketing made simple is for you, the business owner who has a product, a service, or a message that you believe in. My name is Scott Aaron, and each week we'll take a behind-the-scenes look into the real-world marketing and networking tactics and strategies for getting what you have in front of you to a lot more people. Thanks for spending time with me, and now let's get started. Hey, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Networking and Marketing Made Simple. I have a special guest with me today.
Hello, hello.
My beautiful wife, Nancy, is here because we're talking about some deeper topics and statistics about LinkedIn, but also we're excited because today is the first day of our free 5-day LinkedIn intensive. So,
Woo!
yeah, we're excited. We're excited. So if you haven't registered yet, there still is a link that is going to be in the description of this episode where you still can register and dive in tonight. It takes place at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It will be live. And for those in different time zones, if you register, it will be recorded and you will be emailed a copy just in case. And you also have to join our LinkedIn Leads for Life group. That link will also be in the description as well. So as you saw by the title of today's episode, we're going to be going over 5 interesting statistics about LinkedIn from 2020 and what they mean in 2021. So number one, 60% of LinkedIn, all LinkedIn users, and there are 722 million users globally, are now between the ages of 25 to 34. Now, just to give you some backstory on this, just about a year and a half ago, the average age of someone on LinkedIn, 50% or more, was 30 to 55, and there's been a huge pendulum swing in the last 18 months. So, Nancy, what does that tell you now seeing that average age of 25 to 34 has that presence on LinkedIn? Because everyone thought that was Facebook and Instagram, but now you're seeing LinkedIn with an uptick of this younger generation of entrepreneurs and business owners looking to capitalize off of it.
Yeah, I mean, I think, right, LinkedIn is such a great platform, right? Because it attracts so many professionals. And whenever you say now that pendulum swing, right, has now hit the 25 to 34-year-old range, I think it's great because we're starting to see some of those younger, like thought leaders, leadership, roles in that younger age bracket that are now learning about the platform and taking full advantage of it. I think a lot of people are getting sick and tired of some of the other platforms, such as, Facebook. They're not seeing the traction and the lead generation, that they would hope for. I think they're getting sick of things like TikTok and Reels and some other, things that they're not necessarily really going to pick up their target or ideal clients. So I think you're starting to see a shift in those younger professionals where they want to actually be taken seriously and they want to connect with, the people that they would like to connect with. And I think we are starting to see, right, LinkedIn's finally getting out there a little bit as, wow, this is really a cool platform. It's not just for hiring, but it's also for connecting with some pretty cool people.
Yeah, I think for me, this stat alone tells me that people are craving connection and community now more than ever. And again, that's not to downplay what's going on with Clubhouse. I think it's really cool what they're doing over there. But if people are looking for significant business lead generation, even if you're that younger business owner between 25 to 34 years old, and that's to say that also the people that are over 34 that are maybe in their 40s and their 50s, and if you think that those types of individuals are not on LinkedIn, they are, and they're open to opportunities to connect and to collaborate and create something with you. So always understand what's going on with the metrics of the age category of LinkedIn. So number 2, LinkedIn saw a 55% increase in conversations among connections in 2020. So I really want you guys to let that sink in. They saw a 55% increase in conversations among connections in 2020. So what that says to me is that there are more people now than ever actually communicating with the network that they're building on LinkedIn, which actually translates into more revenue, into their business, into more collaboration, and creating other things.
Yeah, and just touching on that, so just curious, and I'll kind of pitch this question to you, Scott, because you know all the ins and outs of LinkedIn. Those conversations, is that more than just like the chat bot stuff that we're seeing, or is that like how are they qualifying conversations?
No, this is actual conversations going from online to offline. This has nothing to do with messaging. And again, don't forget, if you're listening to this and use LinkedIn, if you go into the policies and procedures of LinkedIn, the rules and regulations, one of the do nots and you are not allowed to do is to use automated software that connects in messages. That is rules for getting your account blocked and removed. So this is actually playing into those individuals that are organically using the platform to really connect and create relationships outside of the platform from 2020, now bleeding into 2021.
Excellent. All right. Thanks for clarifying that because I know, the one thing, and this is, I most feel so strongly about this, right? Because we even spoke about it before. It seems that once a platform becomes big, right, we get that infection or that virus that starts to spread of people who want to use that platform and really squeeze all they can out
The,
of it.
the FOMO.
Yeah. Wait, well, I don't know about the FOMO, but I just
Yeah,
mean
well, I mean,
people.
they feel like they're missing out, so they want to jump on the platform and capitalize on it.
Well, yeah. Well, where I'm going with this is actually them using those bots, those automations, those fake messages.
Uh,
They try to basically take advantage of the platform. So my whole point here is I'm happy to see, and this makes me excited that we are seeing real conversations because that's the biggest thing. And I think honestly, that's my favorite thing about LinkedIn that I've seen. And I myself personally have experienced this. I will tell you, I've had clients who have tried to do the automation or whatever, and I've immediately told them, stop it, like knock it off. It's basically whenever you send out these fake messages like that, it never works. And if it does, it's like 1% or 0.01% out of hundreds of posts. But what I see that works, and again, this is what excites me, is when you actually genuinely reach out to someone and you say, hey, I see you're in the same space as me, would love to connect, see if there's a room for us to partner or, at least jump on a phone and chat. I've had conversations with people. I've actually jumped on the phone, a gentleman who used to be in e-commerce and, he was looking to write a book and we had just the most amazing conversation. And now he's someone that I reach out to, and he is now a collaborator on certain things, and I'll maybe if I have a question about a certain thing, I reach out to him. So it's a place where you can actually form and create real connections, and that's what I love. So seeing the 55% increase in conversations and real conversations gets me excited.
yeah, well, it tells you two things. Number one, people are not using automation as much on LinkedIn, which they shouldn't. And number two, just to kind of piggyback off of what Nancy said, I had a client that was using an automated service, and he told me that he had messaged 950 people.
Yikes.
So he was using this service that over a 30-day period messaged 950 people, and it only led to 30 conversations. So 1% of or 10% of 930 would have been about 90 some conversations. 5% would have been 45. This was like less than 3%. And I'll tell you this, the people that I worked with organically, they get anywhere between a 20 to 35% on up return rate on people wanting to talk. So if you think automation is the way to go, it's not.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, look at like even those, and I've been seeing even lower than that. That's why I was even surprised you said like 1% or whatever. What I'm saying is I'll hear horror stories where some people are paying companies, thousands of dollars a month to
Thousands.
do these fake, messages and chats. And honestly, if you saw some of the messages that are going out, it kind of makes you sick to your stomach because it's like who in their right mind would respond to that? And also think of it like dating, right? Like if you connect with someone and immediately immediately say, you just do this vomit on them, like, join my blah, 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 or, hey, I'm in the financial industry and I want you to sign up for my thing. It's like, no, you got to court someone, right? You've got to build that know, like, and trust factor. And again, there's a right way to do it, a right and a wrong way. And again, this whole spray and pray method and this automation is poo, in my opinion. I mean, it's garbage. And, I definitely have seen the power of this real conversation. And so that's what gets me excited. It's people who are actually using the platform correctly, and showing up authentically and connecting in the real and the right way.
So number 3, and this is another interesting one, and it's one that gets me excited, is in 2020, content creation increased by 60% on LinkedIn. Now, it always wasn't that way. Only 1% of the LinkedIn population was actually creating content, and then 99% were actually consuming it. But they saw a 60% increase in the 1% that was actually using the platform to now create content on there, because they know that when you create content, that's what drives the connection. That's what drives the businesses forward, the know, like, and trust factor. And seeing that number right there, it's only going to go up in 2021. So if you're not using LinkedIn to create content, you are truly missing out.
Yeah. And I think, whenever it comes to content creation, right? And Scott and I talk a lot about this, right? Like, we're all about LinkedIn being one of our primary focuses as far as a platform in this upcoming year. So you better believe we do a lot of research, right, on what content is best and all that stuff. And I will tell you, if you just started, right? Because every single entrepreneur, every high level executive, everyone out there who is in a specific industry should be creating, right, at least one pillar piece of content each week. Okay. And what I mean by that is it could be a LinkedIn article, and it could be a blog, and it could be a few other things. And guess what? It can all be the same thing. So, what I teach my clients is, especially on LinkedIn, edutainment, let's call it, right? It's when you can actually do trainings, or you can write articles on things that your target market will look at and go, oh, okay, Bob really knows what he's talking about over there, whatever he's really talking about, ABC or whatever. So the content creation, we have seen an increase. I mean, it's something that we teach with all of our clients. Obviously, that you should be at least posting one article a week. I will tell you guys, it might seem a little intimidating and a little scary at first. I remember back quite a few years ago when I wrote my first LinkedIn article, and I was shaking. I was like, oh my gosh, people who I've, obviously, like, past employers and past people I've been connected with, are going to see it. And it felt such a rush to actually hit that publish button. And I think my post was actually about something that was really on my heart. And it was about entrepreneurship and jumping out into the unknown. And I got a lot of amazing feedback on it. And a lot of people actually started following me. I think I actually have over 5,000, 6,000 people who actually follow my LinkedIn now. Obviously fast forward a couple of years later, but what my recommendation is, guys, don't be afraid of the content. Don't overthink what you should be putting out there, right? Think about what your audience wants to know about. Think about tips that surround leadership, around your industry topics. In fact, my favorite exercise to do with clients is kind of work backwards, right? Like, if you specifically work with HR directors or CEOs or people that have certain things in their mind, right? What are their pain points? What are those things that you solve for them? Just start talking on that. Riff on what you know. Write an article about, right, the top 3 ways that you can, ABCD, or take care of your employees or something like that, right? And just brainstorm some ideas and start writing, okay? Because content's huge. And whenever someone actually, comes across your stuff, it usually gets them curious. And that's what sends them down the rabbit hole of actually learning more about you, checking you out. This has actually worked very well for one of my clients. He actually writes really cool articles on, PPP and business, what's going on right now with small businesses, in the government. And the thing is he even told me he had a client reach out to him and say, yeah, you're hired. I already know you know what you're talking about. You're an expert. You're good, right? It gives you so much more credibility. You talk on what you know. It keeps you up to date, right? Because writing those articles, it does cause you, right, to know your stuff, right? I don't know if you can curse on this podcast, so sorry. Well, actually, I didn't even curse, so I don't even know what I'm apologizing for.
You could say shit or
Oh
something.
my God. Okay, cool. All right. So, we're going to blow the doors off. I'm going to lose my mind. All right. Okay. So anyway, but content, is is amazing. And it doesn't have to be an overwhelming thing, guys. Just get started, just hit play, just talk about what you know, set yourself apart as the expert of talking about those things that you know about in your industry.
Yeah, the final thing that I want to kind of touch on before we move on to the last two tips and statistics that you guys need to know is Nancy and I, over the weekend, were listening to a Clubhouse about the power of social media. And a gentleman popped on, and a woman was saying, how do I get started with my podcast? What do I do? How do I grow it? And they had some of the top industry experts on there. And the best piece of advice they gave was just get started. And I think a lot of people, they get so overwhelmed and you overthink the process. I don't know what to write. Listen, I remember a couple years ago, I wrote an article that was 4 sentences long on LinkedIn, and remember it went viral.
Oh my God, I
It
remember.
was it was a Pele quote, and it was all about leadership, and it got shared like 1,500 times. It got over 20,000 views just by sharing a very short, simple leadership tip. And again, when we overthink the process, that's when you actually keep your business in neutral, which means you're not moving forward, which means you're not moving your business forward. So the last two stats I think, are the most powerful. And number 4, LinkedIn live stream increased by 437% in 2020 on LinkedIn. And just to quantify that, LinkedIn Live saw the greatest 12-month increase of any live streaming social media platform out there today. More than Facebook Live, more than Instagram Live, any other of those platforms. They saw the greatest single increase in a 12-month span on LinkedIn. Now, you do have to apply to become a LinkedIn producer to do live video, but that says so much that this platform is growing immensely, and people still love live video because they love feeling connected to the person that's producing the content.
Yeah, hands down. I mean, right, when we look at content, and we again do a lot of research, right, on the best content to post across platforms. And when we look at every single one of them, video rules, right? Like that's where you're getting the most connection, the most engagement, so on and so forth. People like to connect. They like to see you. They like to hear your thoughts. They like to see the video. And so the video doesn't have to be that long. But to Scott's point, if you apply to be a part of LinkedIn Live, it opens up so many new doors. In fact, I'm telling all my current clients, go ahead and apply now. Scott had to apply. How many times did you apply?
8.
All right, Scott applied 8. How many did our friend Kat have to apply?
10.
She applied 10. Okay, so you have to stay at it. But whenever okay, and this is before you're actually part of LinkedIn Live, the video can only be up to 10 minutes long, right? That's part of the guidelines of LinkedIn, to protect, upload times and all that.
Native video.
So exactly, native video. So meaning you're posting it onto the platform. So it can only be 10, but just imagine if you guys get access and ability to do LinkedIn live streams, you now are able to have your own, and this is the one thing that I love, you could have a weekly show, okay, maybe every Tuesday or every Friday, where you invite special guests on and you can do a LinkedIn live stream to professionals, to amazing people, to your audience. And you can jump on and again, talk about those topics, like I mentioned, where they get value, you share value, you obviously teach on what you know, and then people get curious and they're like, all right, what's this guy or this girl all about? And I love this show because she's talking about a lot of cool things. And have fun with it, guys. Like whenever you have the ability to do these live shows, and I say the same thing with podcasting as well, be intentional about it. You can actually create a show. You can, start your intro out really sharing kind of some hot topics or what's going on in the news or, different things that you'd like to update people on in your industry. And then you could jump into maybe fun facts or fun tips that you've done a little research on. And then you could jump into doing an interview. So actually producing and creating a structure to it and having fun. And guys, at the end of the day, it's not talking about what you do. It's not talking about what you're selling. It's sharing value. Okay. Hands down, every day of the week, that's what you're doing. Remove that thing that you keep wanting to talk about, right? That like, oh, hey, by the way, I sell blah, 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 blah. No, get rid of it. Because guess what? When people hear you and you're talking about your industry topics, you're sharing your knowledge about those things, they're going to naturally get curious. And of course, at the end of that, you can put a call to action to, hey, visit my website to learn more. But you are not talking about that in your content, right? People don't want to be sold to. People like to buy, but they don't want to be sold to. And how to do that is just to share value.
The other tip I can give you for becoming a LinkedIn Live producer, just as Nancy said, is you have to start by producing native video first. They are not going to grant anyone the ability to do LinkedIn Live if they don't see you producing native video first.
And what do you mean by native video?
So that means just recording a video on your phone or on a Zoom, recording it, and it has to be under 10 minutes, and consistently producing video content week after week, month after month. So when I applied for LinkedIn Live initially, I really wasn't producing that many videos on the platform. And then they gave that advice. They said, listen, if you start producing more videos that we can see and we can see your knowledge and your tips and your tangible takeaways, you will have a better chance of getting approved. So I kept producing and kept producing. And then finally, I got accepted. So my best piece of advice is to just start with doing one native video per week. And it can be a 1 to 2 minute tip video that, as Nancy said, educates and informs and gives people tips, not selling or pitching, just really connecting with your audience of what they want to know. And then over time, as LinkedIn sees that you've been producing these videos, you're going to have a better opportunity to become a LinkedIn Live producer.
Yeah. And you know what? Just touching on that too, a couple accounts that you might benefit to take a look at. Gary Vaynerchuk does a great job of doing edutainment, which is education and entertainment. He has really neat little, not memes, but more like infographics and cartoons that kind of tell stories around leadership and development. And Mel Robbins, does a really nice job of tying in, her personal brands, but also shedding on light onto what people want to know about on LinkedIn.
Absolutely. So last tip, and I think this is the one that excited me the most, is 4 out of every 5 people on LinkedIn now, which means 80%, 80% of people on LinkedIn drive business decisions, which means 20% are the ones that are getting the business from those that are creating and making the business decision. So if you think about that, 20% of the 722 million people on there is around 144 million people. The other 600 some or close to 600 million people are actually making the business decision. So there is such an opportunity for revenue growth using LinkedIn, and knowing as you're listening to this that 4 out of 5 people on LinkedIn are making a business decision, it tells you if you focus time, energy, and effort on LinkedIn this year, you will create more business in your business.
Absolutely. And to know those people are actually looking at the content that's being posted on LinkedIn. I mean, it's where most high level executives, owners, CEOs are going to actually scroll. Okay. They're not going to TikTok, guys. They're not going to Instagram. They're on LinkedIn. And just to give you an example of this, okay. So Scott and I, on one of our entrepreneurial adventures, we actually were helping a local TV news or like radio station. Actually, it was like a TV station. Anyway, we were helping them for a little while and we were actually helping them get guests. And one of our tactics to reach out and to get some pretty amazing guests on the networks were to actually go on LinkedIn and just search, right? CEOs, founders, company business owners. And we were saying, hey, there's a really cool program. Love you to be a part of it. It's completely free, but you can literally come down to the studio, share your story, share a little bit about what you do. And, it's no harm, no foul, whatever. The response that we received from owners, I mean, for some pretty incredible people. I mean, in fact, we like just ourselves, just from connecting in that experience alone, met so many amazing people who are still a part of our life. And, again, high level people who have started their own businesses or even run huge organizations. So anyway, all we did was message them, contact, make those connections. And started that relationship. And that's what so many of you guys can do. So that's the power of LinkedIn. I think it's fantastic. I think it's a no-brainer. You know, if you are a high-level executive, if you are a person who needs to connect with high-level executives, if you are a person who is a business professional, who is ready to really make some great connections, LinkedIn is a no-brainer.
Yeah. So remember, 60% of LinkedIn is now between 25 to 34. They saw an increase, 55% increase in conversations among connections. Obviously, messaging back and forth, taking it from online to offline. Content creation increased by 60%. LinkedIn live stream increased by nearly 450%. And 80% of people now on LinkedIn are the ones making the business decision. So it really does tell you that so many amazing things are going on with the platform, and we must take advantage of them right now. And remember, today is day one of our free 5-day LinkedIn intensive. So the link to join, it's not too late. It starts at 8 o'clock tonight. So depending upon when you're listening to this, and if you haven't registered, you still can. You got to A, register with the link below, but B, also join the LinkedIn Leads for Life group on Facebook, where the trainings will be taking place. So again, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Please enjoy the rest of your day, and we will talk to you next time. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you so much again for checking out today's episode. And if you are listening through iTunes, Spotify, wherever you are, please leave me a rating and review. Let me know what you loved, what you would like to see improved, or ideas you have for future episodes. And if you are interested in taking your business to the next level, don't hesitate to go to my website, www.scottaaron.net, where you can schedule a free discovery call with me, where I can learn more about you, your business, what you're struggling with, and how we can work together. And don't forget to check out my wife, Nancy, and mine, our free community on Facebook called LinkedIn Leads for Life. We would love to see you in there. Have a great rest of your day. And thank you, everyone, for your support. Grateful for each and every one of you.